Okay. That's weird. There's no art or anything this time. I'm just here for a little bit, just to chill with you guys. I have no plan. I have no agenda. I'm basically just sitting here. For half an hour to 35 minutes, 45 minutes. I don't know. But yeah. Hi, Howard, and still sick. Yeah, well, I basically am. I got over my weird cold thing really, really quickly. However, the cold remnant, you know, the annoying bullshit that you get when you get like, you know, just the that, you know, just the annoying runny nose and the headaches and just general crappiness. Basically, it's still here, and I'm so over it. I just want it to be away now, please. Already, go away. So yeah. Oh, guys, it's fine. It's not the thing I wanted to talk about. It's not the thing I wanted to talk about. Anything but the yeah. The phlegm. No, it's not really phlegm. It's I'm most clear with the phlegm stuff. Is it still phlegm if it comes out of your nose? If it goes from your nose to your throat and then, I mean, is that phlegm? I don't think that's phlegm. But yeah. Yeah, so that keeps happening. And I know people hate it. I know people hate it now when I basically talk about this. When I talk about anything that involves any of the weird irregularities with my body in particular. But I've got a very, very annoying like palette setup in my head compared to everybody else on the planet. For some reason, a few of us on this earth have a palette that's basically tilted down like this. So there's the nose, and it's you know, everybody else's palette is kind of like built like that in their mouth. You know, you kind of feel it in your mouth. It's kind of built like that, but like mine and a few other people's is built like that. So basically, it's the runny nose situation. It goes basically to the back of my throat, is instead of going out of my nose. So yeah. I also sneeze funny. If anybody's heard me sneeze, also it's not the average sneeze, and it's kind of yeah. So yeah, it's not really phlegm. It's just snot. That's it. It's just yeah. I'm having a problem with my eyes at the moment as well, because basically everything's slightly blurry. I have no idea why. I think it might have something to do with my headache, with random migraine problems, but that's always fun. So yeah, just mucus that builds up in your lungs that fights the infection. Well, again, I don't have any infection, and it's not coming from my lungs. It's coming from my nose. Yeah, like I've said in the past, basically, and this does happen, and it has happened. It does happen on stream. It's happened a couple of times on stream. It happened last night on stream. What happens, especially when I've been ill, is that basically my nose will just out of nowhere, when I breathe in through my nose, you know, 1 out of every 1,000 times or so, when I breathe in like that through my nose, it will decide to, instead of air coming in, going into my throat, it would be like, have some extra snotty stuff instead of air. And I'm like, oh, good. because my throat isn't prepared for that, and it's like you just choke a little bit, which is also so fun. It's so fun. 7 people watching me do nothing. I always love this. I always love it when people when a lot of people show up to something that I'm not even talking anything a lot about. You know, it's great. Because I don't have a subject, guys. I basically, let's bring your own subject. I'm just here to chill with you guys until, yeah. I have done some art before my vision got all blurry, but I haven't uploaded it or anything. And also, it's for a grummer person, and they haven't gone back to me whether I can show it to people yet. But it's just a simple weight gain sequence. It's just a 2-panel job. So yeah. Anyway, guys, how are you guys doing? What is up? Are you having a good weekend? By the way, I have this. I was, if you wonder how I was doing, I basically, my day has been not bad apart from this bullshit, apart from this biological bullshit. It's been a regular Saturday. We went to McDonald's at around about 7 p.m. and you know that's around about the same time I woke up because I went to bed. I couldn't sleep last night at all. I went to bed just when Damon was getting up. So yeah, it was kind of a weird shock not seeing daylight yet. So yeah, we went to McDonald's, had a nice time. You know, had a good meal. I did good. I had like 3 burgers, which was nice. So I was nicely satisfied by the end of it. And yeah, just been weird with the sleep. You know, just been very strange with the sleep. Helped Damon with the decorations a little bit because we're taking the decorations down in the house, so that's something. I find that people have the audacity to stare at you and give a bad look for no reason. Who's this? What's that thing you had posted on? What was the thing you had posted in Barrettsea, the ship layout thing? Oh, let me have a look. I think it was the LCAS. Yeah, it's the Oberth class or Oberth class. I wanted to get people's opinions on that ship on account of everybody seems to shit on it, and it's really annoying to me because basically I love that ship. I need to get an actual picture of it. That is just the design schematic. That's kind of like a cross section of it. And that is my alarm on my watch going off. So random. Yeah. It's the Oberth class, and everybody seems to shit on it because they say it's an unworkable design, and I like it. I like it a lot. I'm really you know, it's a very unique design to Starfleet. I haven't seen any other ship that basically has done a design like this, and I love it. But a lot of people, like I said, just they love to poop all over it. So yeah, I just wanted people's opinions on it. I should post an actual picture of it. Should I do that now? I'll find an actual picture of it and I'll post that. Please forgive me. on account of this will take several minutes, meaning like 2 or 3. Especially with my fucking eyesight being weird tonight. Over class. I did have a model of it somewhere. Where's my models? Oh, I need to put a picture up anyway. Yeah, it's a spaceship from Star Trek, and it's just in my opinion, it's pretty, and I like her, but I don't understand why. I don't understand why a lot of people are so like, oh, I hate it, it's stupid. Just trying to find a good picture. Well, that's nice. Oh wow. I'm being slightly distracted. I do apologize. I'm organizing. Come on. There's a really pretty picture of it somewhere, and I can't find it. I will say that's tiny. That's quite small compared to all of the other ones. There's lots of pictures of models of it, which is really irritating. Okay, it's starting to bug me. This is. What was that? Okay, I'm. Let's see that I've got a good one. It's in Deep Space Nine as well. Is it just giving up on cleaning up the pictures for me? Thanks, computer. There's a Lego build for open. It's a logo built for an Oberth class. Are they messing with me? Are people messing with me? Because there has to be some pictures of an Oberth class, wherever you want to call it. It's an Oberth class. Okay, I'm giving up. I'm giving up. I'm just posting this one picture. It's from the front of it, so you can't really see it clearly. I nearly just closed the window. Right. We're putting Discord on this computer so I can send you the picture. But yeah, that's the Oberth class. I just wanted to know what people thought about it, if anybody did have any thoughts on it and stuff. And yeah, I mean it's interesting to me. It might not be to anyone else. There she is. Okay. That's what she looks like. Again, that's the only good picture that I can find. But that's from the second movie. No, the third movie. It's from the third Star Trek movie. So the third Star Trek movie. Right, I've missed a bunch of the chat. I do apologize. So here we go. By the way, yeah, that's an LCAS display of the spaceship. In the show, they actually have this convention of basically displaying somewhere just to show you what parts of the ship are working and not, an LCAS display, and that's what that's called, an LCAS. It means it's like linear. Well, it stands for something. LCRS. It stands for something, but yeah, that's just the general layout. It's the computer operating system that Starfleet uses, and it displays things like that in just that order, in that way. And that's the Oberth class, and it's pretty. It's pretty, in my opinion. It's one of the nicer designs. It's a super unique design in Star Trek, and I wish they did more with it, but you know, what are you gonna do? Hi, Bearbuff. Yeah, well, it's the reason why it's a Nintendo alarm is because the watch is a little Game Boy. That's my watch. It's got a super elasticated strap, so basically it fits on my wrist quite nicely. And right now it has a little present. There's a couple of presents stuck to the bottom of it. So yeah. But yeah, the alarm on it is quite unique. I was definitely not expecting that. I'm very pleased with that. Me and Itchy have got matching watches. Itchy has one of these as well because he bought it for me. I didn't ask him to. It just was in my house suddenly. So yeah, it's very cool. I was going to say it seems ergonomically designed. It's efficient layout. Well, yeah, there are definite pros and cons, but the main thing is that it's kind of a sled design. It basically has this pod on the bottom, and this is where everybody basically hates this ship, is that you can't really get from the saucer section at the top to the secondary hull at the bottom, because there's no access there. But people are forgetting that basically you can actually get down to the pod. It's just that it's an access tunnel through the nacelle pylons, and basically, yeah, it's a little bit, it's a bit of a trek, but you know, it's Star Trek. What are you going to do? But a lot of people, like I said, hate that. They absolutely hate that part of the design. But I just like it. You know, everybody also says that the scaling is off. I thought the hangar bay placement was interesting. Would you have to go through the bridge to get to the hangar? No, it's on a different deck. Yeah, it's on the deck below the bridge. Yeah, it's on the deck below the bridge. So yeah, it's no problem. One of the good things is that basically it can separate from the sled. It becomes a kind of a sled design, and it's got like 2 levels, and it can actually leave that level alone and fly off by itself. And it has unique warp nacelles, and it can, yeah, it's very interesting. It's a very interesting ship. The secondary hull idea doesn't have any windows and is primarily just a it's a sensor palette most of the time, but you basically can get other secondary hulls for this thing. And like I said, it's a very unique design. I like it. Oh, I'm feeling okay. I just wish that I was feeling 100% better already, because this cold remnant thing is pissing me off a little bit. So yeah, I'm okay. But hi, Jeffrey. Excuse me. I thought that was the right way to explain. Yeah, I got carried away to. Oh, right, I forgot. I'm so sorry, Tubbs, and still I'm feeling well. I already read that, I think. I always figured that the bottom section would be empty and unpressurized unless maintenance was happening, so no one really needs to go there often. Well, that's the thing. I kind of want them both to be workable. I like, I really like this thing, and I would be all the time not caring about going up and down a small a small Jeffries tube just to get in and out of the of that thing. You know, it's perfectly. I don't understand what the big deal is. I mean, you have to go through an access hatch to get to the secondary hull. Who cares? You know. Yeah, I like it. I still think it's a nice design. Especially, one of the main things that I like about this ship is that when you ditch the secondary hull, then basically you're left with the primary hull. It can fly around, and it's really cool. It's it's super maneuverable. It's super, in my opinion, it's kind of pretty. It's a whizzy little ship. It's great. I do like it. This particular scale as well is something that I do like. Whereas a lot of people keep arguing for the larger scale, but this particular scale is perfect in my opinion. I think it just works. It does just work. So yeah. But yeah, I don't see any problem with it, but a lot of people get pissed at it. So yeah, as you can see on this diagram, which was this has been signed off by the official people. You know, the official what's he called? Oh, he's a Chinese American guy who basically designs all of the LCAS systems that you see on Star Trek. But he'd signed off on a bunch of these blueprints and stuff, and one of the things that he said was actually that he really likes this scale of this model as well, and really wish that they would keep it that way. So he officially signed off on this, and yeah, it's cool. Okuda, yeah, thank you. And he's Jap. I'm sorry. I should have said Asian American, but for some reason that feels like it's less respectful. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, Kuda, yeah, yeah. It's like, you're a nerd, dude. Yeah. So and I agree. So this is this is in the specific timeline of the movie, the movie timeline, the movie time period. This is my favorite ship. The Oberth class is my favorite ship. I feel like they didn't, it was a bad captain. It wasn't the fault of the ships why the original Oberth, the USS Oberth, basically got destroyed. I don't think that was her fault at all. They literally hit her dead on the warp core, which you can see is in the primary hull, at the back of the primary hull, and it is a new type of warp core as well. So yeah. But yeah, it's awesome. It is awesome. I know somebody's got a big model of one, and they said, well, they sent me over some pictures of it, and I couldn't find any defensive weapons at all on it. I mean, just looking at the picture, I can't see any. Mm. Well, that's where you get the Oberth, one of the Oberth variants. You can actually get like the secondary hull replaced with a kind of like a roll bar torpedo launcher, and like a Mandarin classes phaser cannons on the roll bar and everything, and it becomes a badass. On Star Trek Legacy, the game that I play, it's got kind of a phase cannon design, both from its front and its back. So maybe the phase cannons are basically hidden by the edges of on the edges of the nacelles underneath them. So both on the back and on the front. So yeah, it's a tough little ship as well. It definitely outdoes the scout ships. You know, I'll put it. I'll put it basically. You know, it's almost a proto-Defiant. You know, Defiant is way out there. It's got a lot of firepower and stuff like that, but it's kind of a proto-Defiant, and it's definitely a test bed for a lot of their technology, a lot of Starfleet technology. So, yeah. Well, when we first see it, in Star Trek 3, it is basically a science vessel. It's just a survey ship that basically is checking out the Genesis planet. So it is a science vessel. Primarily, it's a science vessel, but like I said, you get variations on it. So yeah, it's kind of in my opinion, it's super cool. Plus, like I said, I've seen its schematics for how it can separate its bottom section, and that one little section at the top with the two nacelles on either side is super maneuverable and super speedy. So yeah. It was never meant for combat, so when someone shoots it, it crumples. Well, like I said, didn't they shoot at it when it didn't have its phasers up or anything? When its shields up or anything? They basically the Klingons took it by surprise. We've never really seen it in combat. But I don't know. Holy crap, this guy is really into this. Well, like I said, this is partially my job. So I kind of I kind of am into it. Plus, I'm just generally into the engineering side of all of these ships and stuff, not just from Star Trek, but from other series as well. However, like I've said in the past, Star Trek really does explain how their ships and everything works way better than Star Wars does. Star Wars doesn't explain shit, you know. So yeah. It has no armor, and all the important stuff is too near the surface. Well, it's because it's so small. It's because it's so small. They tried to like minimize everything because it's only a survey ship. So, yeah, it's like what's it called? The Nova class. It's like the Nova class. It's an incredibly tiny ship. So because it's got everything, and they try to pack everything into it. So basically, everything is near the surface because it doesn't have much surface, and that's kind of the case with this ship as well. But I mean, like, yeah, it's just a very sleek design. I do like it, and yeah, I'm into the Bionicle sets and Yu-Gi-Oh. All I'm into is Bionicle sets and Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay, well, I'm no, I don't know much about those topics, so I can't really talk much about them. FMS says, sorry if all this track talk is boring, or, well, like I said, anybody's welcome to enter a subject. I basically have no plan for this little talk that we're having before I go try to eat something else. Did have a good stuff in it at McDonald's. That was nice. No, it's fine. I'm actually enjoying this. Q. I'm like, wow, you know all this stuff from Star Trek, and all I only know is a little about it. Well, what is I mean, how much have you seen of Star Trek? That's the thing. You know, I've seen all of Star Trek. I've seen all of the Star Treks. Unfortunately, that includes the animated series, the even some of the comic books, and all of the original series. And crappy. I hate it so much, but I have to watch it. So yeah. I love hearing YouTubes and famous folks talking about this. Is very interesting. Well, to me, it's just fascinating. Nova is pretty durable. It is a science vessel that was built to brawl. Oberth is pure science, and that is all it needs to be. Again, it does have, it does have its defensive measures. So, we can argue about if it was put in a offensive situation. The Oberth class science variant, if it was put in a kind of like a tactical situation, that basically, I would say that it would depend on the crew, because it does have weapons. It doesn't have great weapons, but it has weapons. There's apparently a torpedo launcher somewhere in there as well. I've seen it on the deck plans, because I've seen the deck plans. Again, I like this ship. And it's mainly used for probes, but it's a torpedo launcher. What are you going to do? So I mean, it does have offensive capabilities, and it does have defensive capabilities. And I would say that the Oberth class isn't completely without, or isn't completely defenseless. It just happens to be, whenever we've seen it in Star Trek, it's usually been a little bit of their punching bag, and and it doesn't deserve it. It just doesn't deserve it. Also, by the way, the Oberth class is also it was thought to be super speedy as well. Again, on Star Trek Legacy, the game, and you shouldn't take any of that to heart. Whatever's on Legacy, it's got one of the top speeds in the original series movie eras of all of the movie ships. So, and that includes the fucking transwarp drive bullshit, bullshit one. And I kind of believe that, because it's got unique nacelles, and it's got a very, very it's a very small ship, so basically it makes sense that it's going to be having efficient engines. So yeah. It's only seen pretty. I've only seen partly of Enterprise, and the first one that they have done. What? Partly of Enterprise and partly of Enterprise and the first one they have done. I don't know what that means. Sorry. Observation is good too, Saban, for learning things you didn't know. I'm not very knowledgeable about things either. Okay. Beryl says, Tubbs, do you mind if I send you my pictures in Santa suit on Grommer now? Because I said I would send it soon. Yeah, sure. Sure. I haven't been on Grommer. I haven't been on Grommer all week, but I'm going to go on it like tomorrow probably. So yeah. I've been trying to get back on to Grommer, but yeah, you should see my notifications. There's like 400 notifications. I feel like I'm in trouble, because I upload pictures to Grommer, but I don't actually check my mail or anything on there. I check my mail on my computer, where I can actually type properly and stuff. Of course, I'm more interested in story. Well, yeah. Star Trek has some really awesome stories. So yeah. Of course, I've already read that. I love the Oberth. I just am not going anywhere near the Borg in one, though. I won't go near the Borg in anything, unless it's a a souped-up Intrepid class from the future. Then maybe. The Borg wouldn't care about the Oberth. They basically would just be like, okay, it's not a threat. If anything, you can, and you can probably get away from them as well really quickly. So, I mean, it's there if you want it. Yeah, if you were given the opportunity to basically be stationed on a ship, and it happened to be an Oberth class, would you take it? That's the thing. The Borg, I think, were amazing. When you shoot them, they all know when you're going to shoot next. They're so clever as well. They do. It depends. I would imagine it would have to be pretty speedy if it isn't originally designed for combat. Yes. Its engine design is, like I said, the engine design is super unique. It was a test bed for the in legends or story in the stories. Basically, it was the test bed for the transwarp drive, which was a Starfleet kind of experiment to basically exceed normal warp drive parameters. However, on the larger ship, it didn't work, but it must have worked on the smaller ship, and that's basically why the Oberth class's engines look the way they do, because they're basically the test bed for the transwarp drive. So it's pretty speedy. By the way, there's been a new theory, and there's a guy on the internet called Law Reloaded, and oh my god, I hate that guy so much. I just can't stand him. I just can't. He's a pain in the ass. He just, yeah, it's like, everybody's attacking me. I hate them, and it's just like I don't give a shit. Get on with your fucking video. Anyway, he basically has put a theory out. He has sometimes good theories, and basically one of his theories is that the transwarp drive was actually just the upgraded engine. It wasn't actually transwarp. It was an upgraded engine design, and after that period, they basically went with the new warp scale and stuff like that. And I like that theory. I like his theory a lot on that, and I would like to believe that basically the Oberth class is one of the ships that can actually get to transwarp, or their version of transwarp, back in the day. Because after that, when we see the next generation, the warp scale has been altered, so they're not the same as Enterprise and the original series. So yeah, hell yes, get me into space. I know. It's I'd still go with, basically, if I had the ideal ship placement and stuff, if I was to pick a ship that I was going to go on from each era and stuff like that, then I would say Intrepid class from the Enterprise era. I would say the Minutes. I can't remember what it's called. The ship the ship I put on the Barrettsy server, the Star Trek server, a while ago for Discovery era or universe or whatever you want to call it. The original series, I would definitely go for. Well, there isn't anything else but a Constitution class, so you kind of have to go for the Constitution class. I don't know though. Yeah, I don't know. For the movie era, then I would go for the Oberth class, and for the Next Generation era, then basically I would go for an Intrepid class, and then basically that's yeah. Yeah. There was, of course, Space Dock. I fucking love Space Dock. She's awesome. It's so cool. Yeah, I love Space Dock. I would totally be stationed on Space Dock. You know, it's just so cool. It's so freaking cute. But yeah. Lower loaded stick is everything you like is actually evil, and it gets old. Yeah, I've started noticing that, and it's like you know, the Federation, although I know has problems, it basically isn't as bad as he keeps saying it is. And yeah, but what gets me about Law Reloaded is that he basically he victim blames all the time. He basically almost every single one of his videos basically is full of him talking about and usually pretty good points, bring up pretty good points, and then he'll, like, in the middle of it, say, and I know everybody's going to say, and everybody's going to jump on me and attack me in the comment section and demonetize me or anything, and all of this stuff because I'm so bad or whatever. And then he'll go and talk about his point anyway. And I just hate him. I hate it when he does that all the time. And he thinks that he's very clever because he knows terminology, like it's like he keeps saying that basically he keeps getting straw-manned arguments all the time, or basically he keeps bringing up fallacies that he doesn't really understand, and it gets annoying. It gets annoying. He bitches and moans all the time, and I've unsubscribed. You know, literally because of that reason. You know, and he keeps moaning about, like, whenever anybody does anything, even if it's just humorous and just kind of like making fun, just not really making fun, or whatever, but making fun of anything that he said, he'll basically say, oh, they just want to make more money off of me and stuff like that. It's like, fuck you. They're just having fun. Why do you have to shit on them? So yeah. They'll basically bring up other channels because they're way, you know, I could never do this because they're way bigger than me, you know, channel wise, and I hate that. Stop bitching and moaning. You know, it's the exact same reason why basically I don't like things like I'm starting to not like Onision because he keeps bitching and moaning about how everybody else is getting opportunities that he isn't getting, and it's getting old really fast. You know, at first I basically had sympathy for the guy, but now it's kind of getting old, and it's a shame. But could you please move on? You keep saying you're going to move on, but you bring up the same points over and over, and it's getting old. So yeah, it's one of those things. Anyway, so yeah, what is your favorite ship from the original series movies era? You know, from the era which the original series movies take place in. You know, do you like the Miranda class? Do you like the Oberth class? Or is your favorite the Daddy? You know, the Constitution refit class, or somebody said the other day the Enterprise class, because it's a new ship. You know, or is it even the Excelsior class? Because that was a thing. Miranda class, hands down, I love the Miranda. Okay. Why though? I mean, there's nothing wrong with the Miranda class. There isn't. It's a battleship, though. I can't think of anything else. I can't think of anything else that it's basically it could be used for. They use it kind of for sciencey purposes when it's revealed and stuff. And yeah, I do like the big shuttle bays. I do like the big shuttle bays at the back. They did pack the crap out of that thing with a bunch of interesting stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's like it is designed to basically have a match for the Enterprise refit, and it shows. Hope you will feel better. Take care for now. Take care all. I think Bebop's leaving. If you're still around, Bebop, hit a button. Miranda and Excelsior. I kind of like Excelsior. It's an interesting design. You know? But it has incredible problems. And you just said about the shuttle bays on the Miranda. Excelsior shuttle bays are baffling. Like, I want to believe that the Excelsior has good shuttle bays, but all we see is basically there's kind of a shuttle bay entrance, and it's weird. It's also slanted, but it's weird. It's a weird. It's got a weird door. So yeah. But no, I do like the I do like the Mirandas. You know, it's basically got a big chunky back of the saucer section area, and that area is basically I mean, it's cool, but it's like it's very obvious. So yeah. Also, where's the fucking deflector? Now I actually know where the deflector is now. Now I do. But a lot of people are complaining about the fact that that actually the deflectors, because I think Trek Yards, a channel called Trek Yards, has said that the deflector isn't actually the dish until the next generation. So the main deflector on spaceships isn't actually the dish until next generation, and then it is the dish. However, I don't want that to be the case. I know that's just me thinking it, but on all of the schematics that I've got, they always point out what the deflector is, where the deflector is, and stuff like that. So basically, I'm calling bullshit on Trek Yards. But yeah, I know where the deflector is. Yeah. It took me a while to figure it out as well. I basically just assumed that it was like the warp field stabilizer crystal that you see on the back, the big blue light that you see on the back. It's basically I thought that was the deflector. It just wasn't facing the right way. But it created a deflecting field around the ship that basically meant that when you're traveling at fast and light speeds, space dust and shit basically just they won't matter because you have a field around the ship. Well, in a combat vessel, a hidden deflector makes sense because it is an obvious target. So a recessed deflector is logical. Again, I know that basically it is hidden. It is partially hidden. But yeah, the main deflector on the Miranda class is actually that little bump on top of the weapons array, on top of the torpedo launchers. Which is stupid. But yeah. That apparently is the main deflector. It also has deflecting targeters, and this is the thing that not Lord Relay did. The Trek Yards guys basically are trying to point out on either side of the bridge. You see these kind of like cutouts in the back of the saucer section, recessed. So they are kind of recessed. Those are apparently deflection amplifiers. So yeah, you also see them on in the Enterprise as well. They're around the deflector, the actual deflector. So yeah, but yeah, they're arguing that basically those things are the deflector, and basically that a deflected dish that we see in the original series and the original series movies are in fact actually sensor dishes. And it's bullshit. Lots of science talk, guys. Lots of sci-fi spaceship talk, guys. Hey, Wolfie. We're talking Star Trek. At least we was. I don't know. I'm waiting for I'm waiting for somebody else to say something. Have you looked at the design for mechs and Gundams? They kind of don't interest me because they kind of like they put a lot of bullshit on them. There's certain parts of them that need hydraulics, and they basically never include the hydraulics. But I have seen a schematic for a Gundam, for Gundam Wing, and basically it's like this would never work even in the future. It's like, for example, I really love Macross Plus, and they seem to have put a lot of effort into designing how their spacecraft work, and they use mechs, and basically they're fighter jets that can turn into combat mode, which is what is a mech basically, and yeah. they look ridiculous, but at least they've been made properly and stuff. But Gundam, fuck off for that shit. Well, if people can explain to me exactly how something works without the need for hydraulics and a power system that can actually function well enough to actually work with these things, then yeah, I'd be totally okay with that. But like I said, yeah. Ah, no, I know about this. I actually know a little bit about that. It still doesn't explain. Basically, they when they add that stuff, they basically isn't it in ratings? you know, isn't it like it's not about the size or how much of it there is. It's about its rating or something. And like I said, I kind of call bullshit on it, because basically you can claim it's artificial muscle fibers all you want, but there's no way a teeny little muscle fiber like the one they demonstrate that I've seen the bio schematic for um, is going to lift like this giant arm up to do this. It just no. They're done with ratings, and it's like, again, I just, yeah, I'm calling bullshit. I'm sorry, I'm calling bullshit. If they basically said that it was like, okay, we put a giant fuck off artificial muscle in there, then I'd be like, yes, okay, yeah, that works. Well, they put lots of them in, then I'd be like, yes, okay, that works. But they don't. They don't explain it that way. If anything, they just don't explain it that way. So yeah, it's like when people say, okay, we've got a artificial you know, we've got a power source that is this thingy reactor, and we put it here, and it's like, okay, whoa, back it up a bit. What is this power source thingy reactor? What does it do? Explain a little bit about how it at least conceivably works, you know? And that's one of the things I don't like about Star Trek, is because they don't do that. They just say reactors, or they just use the generic fusion reactor, and it's like, okay, it's like, it's a fusion reactor, don't worry about it. It's like, okay, but you know, what kind of, you know, doesn't matter, fuck off. Is anything like what's shown in Pacific Rim? I thought in Pacific Rim, I've not seen any of them. I know the storyline of what happens in them and stuff. I've not seen any of them though. I thought in Pacific Rim they were literally, it's a nuclear, that they use nuclear, a form of nuclear fusion and fission to basically power basically machinery and electronic motors and stuff. I didn't think any of that was biological. Just, yeah, I've never heard anything to the contrary. So yeah. But yeah, when it comes to these artificial muscle fiber things, then basically, like I said, it's kind of a little bit of bullshit, in my opinion, and I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm just a bit sorry. I have no doubt that we will get biological, kind of like biological tech stuff in the future, especially with the way that current biological tech is working, and working quite well. It's like, it's definitely a thing that is probably going to be in the future. I just like the fact that, yeah, the whole reason, again, the whole reason why I like talking about Star Trek and like talking about how Star Trek works and stuff is because there's been actual research done either from Star Trek or put into Star Trek, so we know how a bunch of this stuff works, at least theoretically. And you know, theoretically it could work, and it's quite interesting. The only bullshit thing that is about Star Trek is dilithium. So yeah, because they don't actually explain what dilithium is or how it works and stuff like that. I mean, it's fascinating, but they don't actually. Yeah. Battle. Battlemet fusion reactors are a low-powered cool fusion system powered by protium for the fuel instead of deuterium or other hydrogen reconfigurations. Protium. I know protium. Scientific protium or fictional protium? Because again, what's protium? My brain just is yelling at me, protons, it's to do with protons. I'm like, shut up, I know, but how? You know? Scientific protium. Okay, this is bugging me. They also never explain how warp coils distort space. They do a bit. Oh, it's hydrogen that's made out of pure protons, right? It's basically hydrogen. It's like heavy water, but not heavy water. It's well, you can have heavy water, but if it was all made out of protons, right? It's basically hydrogen with yeah, but all protons, even the nucleus and everything. Yeah. Right. Well, yes, that is theoretically possible. Then I guess mostly proton. Yeah. Well, you can't actually. Yeah, I know. That is basic scientific principle. You can't really have anything made out of just pure protons. It doesn't work that way. The thing would bind to whatever, anything, anywhere, ever. But that's actually one of the reasons why it could be positively charged and basically exists still. So yeah. Okay, the warp coil question. Basically, the warp coils create a form of magnetism when you run super hot plasma through them, or super high energy plasma, either through them or around them. It depends on the design of them. And it can create a kind of a super electromagnetic field. They're basically giant superconductive rings that can create a form of magnetism around the ship, which then distorts space. Because if you basically pump enough energy into a EM field generator, you will warp space. You just will. It's inevitable that it's about to warp space. And in fact, it will probably create a black hole, and that's bad. But yes, that's how you basically generate a warp field around a ship. And one of the reasons why you have the warp fields look very much like magnetic kind of magnetic fields. So yeah, it's kind of like I said, it's theoretically possible, but we haven't actually had the necessary amount of power to pump into an EM field generator to actually do this. The closest that we've ever come to has been at CERN, in which case it's only made for magnetic containment of high-speed electrons. So yeah. Did that help? I'm sorry. Even to me, that kind of is like, we didn't really explain it. I'm like, no, I did. Right? A little bit, kind of. Anyway, and it is cool fusion system instead of a true cold fusion, so it's able to function at a controlled idling reaction in temperatures significantly close to room temperature. Even cold fusion. I always thought that cold fusion was a bit of a misnomer anyway, because basically, fusion only really happens in hot places like stars, and it's kind of how they get them to fuse. So cold fusion is going to be anything that isn't a star. It's going to be anything that manages to produce fusion that isn't in a star. So it's kind of it's kind of a thing anyway. I thought that that was cold fusion. So yeah. But to generate power necessary to actually move a mech, let alone power weapons, significantly increases the generated heat. Well, yeah, I would do. It's just a thing. You need plasma to do that stuff. You just need plasma. This is really cool, Tubbs, and guys, this is all very interesting. I'm glad that people are actually finding it interesting because yeah, like I said, I understand. I understand if people are not watching now because we're just talking science. Yeah. By the way, FMF, if you're still around, that's also how they basically generate artificial gravity as well. It's a form, they basically treat, they have like, not graviton generators, but they're kind of graviton energizers. And they basically treat gravity like a magnetic force. It's kind of like how magnets work. Basically, there's a positive and a negative gravity force, and what happens is they have these graviton. It's a graviton. What is it called? It's just an artificial gravity generator. They have them placed throughout ships, and essentially what it does is it energizes certain plates so that they have a positive and negative gravity field. So theoretically, you should be able to basically, if you're holding something in a corridor on a starship ship, you should be able to basically just hold a pad or whatever you're holding and just like perfectly in the middle, in between, in the middle of the corridor, perfect distance between the floor and the ceiling, you should be able to just let it go and it would stay there. Because basically what's happening is the artificial gravity on ships is basically in the floor. So what happens is the positive gravity field is on the floor. So basically it's the thing that's attracting everything to the floor. And on the other side of it, on the next deck, basically the next deck down, the negative side of the whole plating, of the floor plating, is basically pushing down gravity. So basically it's pushing down. It's very much like magnets. So basically it's like that for all of the decks of a Starfleet vessel. That's how they have artificial gravity inside ships in Star Trek. I don't know how they do it in other things, but basically that's what I got from the specs of a they actually have an artificial gravity generator on file on place that I work. So yeah, yeah, it's fascinating. It doesn't really explain how that works, but at least it's kind of explained. So yeah. I really hate the excuse of gravitons and stuff, and they did actually get away from that a while ago, using gravitons to explain it, but yeah. Do you know how they used to do it in Starfleet? Do you know how they used to generate gravity in Starfleet? It's trippy, but it's interesting. At least before Enterprise came and kind of squished everything. I'm just going to say it. They used 1G acceleration. So they would drop out of warp and then basically the second they dropped out of warp, they would be at a standstill, and then they would basically use 1g acceleration. So they would move at the speed of gravity, basically at 1g acceleration, and at the inside of the ship, the decks were lined up like that. They were lined up like that, not like this. They were lined up. So basically, when the ship moved, it basically like the gravity, it would make artificial gravity in the ship. It's not an efficient way of doing it, guys. It really isn't. But for the pre-NX class days, that's how they actually made artificial gravity in their ships, even in Starfleet. It's very much an expanse excuse, but it's an interesting one. I've seen the blueprints for those ships, by the way. They're fascinating. They're really cool, the way that they lined up. Apparently, that's where the Starfleet deck, the ordering system of the decks comes in as well, because the bridge used to be set up at the top of the ship, so it was deck 1. So that's how they, yeah. Stupid but funny. Stupid but funny. Don't even like that at all. Seriously, I want to be an engineer so much right now. There are days when basically I wish I was in Star Trek universe so I could be an engineer. Tractor beams are also, I think those are graviton generators. I think they actually use graviton generators for the tractor beams. So yeah. Wolfie, if you like mechs and stuff, and do you like anime? If you do, then I would suggest watching Macross Plus. Basically, their mechs are, like I said, they're not pretty as mechs, but they're very pretty as fighter planes. They look really good, but they kind of look a bit bulky as mechs. And like I said, it's because they try to use actual technology and slight theoretical technology to basically explain how they actually work. So they've thought them out. So yeah, I've heard of Macross. Well, the Macross universe is a bit weird. So yeah. They have used the deflector to basically do that. And I think the deflector is basically just a massive magnet. So yeah, that's also how shields work. They use the deflector for everything in the next generation. So yeah. The problem is that the tractor beam, it's got a bit of a charging period. You know, you can't just like turn it on and then instantly instantly it will deflect a torpedo, especially a photon torpedo, which is directed energy. It's not actually meant to be a physical thing. It's basically the reason why it looks all flashy, in fact, is because the second it's discharged, it basically is a ball of plasma that's being held together by the disintegrating properties of the casing that we saw when it was ejected. So yeah. I didn't know. I didn't know about that. Hmm. Wow. So I just noticed the bit of propaganda that they've got on on tobacco products in the UK. They show you pictures, and they basically they give you messages to try to stop you from smoking. And basically, look at that one. And the picture is of a baby on life support. So yeah, like, wow, it's a little bit heavy hitting, don't you think? I'm like, oh no, my baby. Oh wait. I don't know why they put that on all tobacco products because, like I said, well, like studies have shown, why they put this stuff on cigars and pipe tobacco is beyond me because basically it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing at all. But yeah, it's crazy. Like even when you inhale pipe tobacco and cigars, um, you basically aren't getting as bad of effects as cigarettes. So yeah. And it's crazy because like I inhale every now and again I do, but even then I'm inhaling like 20%, 25% of the time. So it's like it's just a big fuck you. Speaking of, when I've finished this, I'm gonna go. But I'll probably be back tonight, and depending on what the guy on Grommer said, I'm also waiting on Bear Boss pictures. But depending on what the guy on Grommer says, I should be able to show you guys hopefully the picture that I'm working on for him right now, it's a gainer picture, but yeah, whatever. Okay. Well, what's your favorite era for phasers? I am partial to the for phasers. Phasers. I do like the phaser strips. I mean, I like the Defiance phase cannons. I mean, hand phasers. Okay, hand phasers. The Cobra head things look bullshit. I hate that. Yeah, Voyager, Deep Space Nine. Don't really have preference. Yeah, I don't really have a preference. I like the phase pistols from Enterprise. I thought they were pretty cool. They definitely look bulkier, but there's more of a feel for where you're firing. But I don't know. I do like the the metal plating on the one from First Contact when he holds when Picard holds it up to the camera, you can actually see the metal and the levels and all that stuff. I like that. I don't know why. But yeah. Hiccups. But yeah. So I'm just going through my my Discord stuff because I've been missing a few beats. Oh boy. Oh, 8 watching now. 8 watching me not really doing anything. What's your preference? Oh, you already said the Deep Space Nine era. Yeah. I always thought that basically like alien weapons and stuff like that were just never cool. They just always look very bleh to me. I don't know why. You know. However, if you want to talk about like weapons and stuff and hand weapons, then I would suggest Deep Space, not Deep Space Nine, Stargate. You know, SG-1. I think the only downside that they did to their weapons is when they had the they showed you Lantian weapons, and they kind of look like these wand things. They were basically torches with little things on top of them, and they basically showed those. They look ridiculously stupid. But when they showed later Lantian weaponry, like the replicator weaponry and stuff like that, the hand faces for the replicators and stuff, they're cool. I like those. Yeah, and I like the go weapons as well, with the you know, the Zats and the staff weapons. I thought the staff weapons were the coolest when I first saw them. I thought, I was like, I want a staff weapon. They are awesome, you know. But I really wish we had phasers. Then I could walk the woods without having to worry about killing an animal if I got too close. Yeah, but then again, there's bear mace and stuff. It's not ideal deterrent, but it works. From what I've heard and seen, it's pretty much up there. So yeah. So for quiet, I got momentarily lost in computing the macros and Battletech schematics. Cool. Well, if you're on the if you're on the Trek server that I've got, it's not just for Trek, but we have mostly just been talking about Trek. Then feel free to jump on there and drop it in there if you want to share something or talk about something. It's Q. The hand weapons the Lantian replicators had were redressed Bajoran props. Okay, I was freaking out a little bit for a little while just then, because I was like, am I the only one that saw that? Oh my god. I suspected. I suspected. But are they really? Are they actually really? Because holy crap. Oh, holy crap. I need to see a side-by-side picture now. I'm yeah. Are we talking about the later ones or the earlier ones? Because there's two variants of them. Because yeah, they're really cool. They're like yeah. I probably will later. The designs are literally identical. Okay, when I said about the Macross universe, I'm pretty sure that I only referenced Macross Plus, because I don't know much about the Macross universe. I know that there's I know the backstory to it. I know a lot of the backstory to it, but I never actually I've read the synopses for all of the for the history of the Macross, the Grand Macross especially, and stuff like that. But Macross Plus, that particular movie or miniseries that is an anime, is the one I'm talking about when I said that basically the designs of the particular the fighter planes in that and the mechs in that are incredibly well designed. They're really nicely designed. I like them. They're really cool. but yeah, they look a little bit chunky and bulky when they're in their mech forms, but they're basically, yeah. So if you basically know about, yeah, the pistol ones that appear later. Again, I think there's two variants of those. I'm not entirely. I don't know for sure. I'm not putting it down as I definitely know this thing. But like I said, I did recognize the earlier ones, but I swear to God they had another redesign of them towards the end of the Replicator series, the Replicator seasons, and they look a lot cooler. You know, with the crystalline kind of look to them and everything. The extra crystalline look, because they had earlier slight crystalline look, but these, yeah. So yeah, because like I said, the early Lantean technology, the early Lantean disruptors, or whatever they want to call them, are literally just torches with cones on the top of them to make them look like they could be weapons, and they don't work. They're not. I had been watching Gundam Unicorn and the first and just finished up Netflix's Voltron. Although the Gundam series seems to involve a lot of political turmoil. I was going to ask about the Voltron Lions, but I imagine those are more based in magic for now. I don't know about Voltron. I'm so sorry. You know, I basically, yeah, I can't remember what series it was, but when I was a kid, Gundam, there used to be a Gundam Wing something. It used to be called Gundam Wing or Gundam Wing something. There was something on it. I don't know. But I used to love that. I used to actually like, you know, I used to give a crap about that because it basically dealt with space colonies and stuff. And it was like, it was interesting design of space colonies and where people lived and the political disjoint. The very much, it's very much like the Expanse storyline. And it was cool. Only with mechs and stuff. It was interesting. So, yeah. But yeah, I don't know about Voltron. I'm really sorry. Ah. Oh, okay. No, you see, yeah, you see the Bajoran, the Bajoran disruptor. I love this. I do. I really do love this. The Bajoran disruptor. Yeah, I was very much. Like I said, I noticed that they were incredibly alike. My screen just cut out just then. Yeah, I noticed that they're incredibly alike, and yeah, I think that was the yeah. I think they don't have a redesign, do they? Sorry. FMF just posted in the thing. Yeah, on Discord, the side by side pictures of the Bajoran disruptor and the replicate disruptor, and basically, like, I thought they were literally just reskinned props, but there are differences. There's very obvious differences, but it's just that like they're not the same. But I did notice, like I said, when I watched it, and I first saw the redesigned replicator guns, I was thinking to myself, that's very much like the Bajoran guns. But I just no, since nobody else pointed it out around me at the time, I was like, okay. But no, I get it. I get it. I can see the similarities. I get it. I literally thought they were repurposed Bajoran weapons, but I think that they made their own. They're still cool. They are so close that I'm pretty sure it is intentional. Yeah, that's what I mean. I thought that for a second there, I thought that they were just re-spray painted, but I was imagining them in my head, and yeah, well, like you can see, they're very much their own thing. They are very much inspired though, so that's cool. I do like to imagine that basically you can detach the crystalline part and basically replace it, maybe. But then again, it wouldn't be a regenerative weapon, so I'm imagining that's a thing. Yeah, so it's cool. I like it. It is awesome. Okay, somebody's really going nuts on Discord. Everybody's woken up on Discord, I think. Oh, okay. Right, I think this is on its last bit, if it will actually light up again. But I'm getting hungrier. Yeah. So I had an idea then, but it went away. Oh, I'm not going to have much to eat because basically I had my breakfast dinner. Um, I don't know, something small, just cereal or something. It's almost a new week in the new year. It's weird. It's weird. If anybody that's on Discord, be sure to get your votes in before tomorrow evening, because it will be a new week. I haven't filmed the video for this week, but I've not been well, and I've just not been in the mood. I haven't been motivated as well, so that's something. But I will record one and I will upload it. So yeah. So what Panda Fox's request to do? Is that something? Not his drawing request, his request for the video. So yeah. Oh, this one, flat bottom one, yeah. I was thinking about posting schematics for Cowboy Bebop ships if I could find them. You had said once that those look pretty interesting. They do, and from what I remember, Cowboy Bebop does explain a little bit how the ships work. But like, I do know a bit about Cowboy Bebop designs, but it's been ages since I watched that series. Like, it's got to be at least 10 years since I watched that series. So basically, I don't remember. Mm. I'm pretty sure I do know how, but it's something to do with repulsor lifts and stuff. It's very Star Trek. I mean, Star Wars. Yeah. Apparently, this is going on forever. Well, if you've got schematics for it, then I would love to add them to my collection. Although I'm pretty sure I can find them on my work database. Where I work, basically, a bunch of people have a bunch of schematics for stuff. So if I just put out a bulletin for it, then I probably could find it. Although they are a bit unpredictable because basically, I'm just going to say this. I wanted to find schematics for the Apollo class ship from Star Trek. The original series Apollo class, and it's a one nacelle scout ship. It's a one nacelle, and it's a source section with one nacelle. And basically, I hunted around the internet for them, and basically I found a couple of very basic schematics and stuff. So I after doing this Google search for these images, I was like, okay, guys, I'm a bit stumped here. Has anybody got any schematics for the Apollo class? So so yeah, I got after a week, I basically rechecked the form post, and basically yeah, there have been a few attachments added to the form post. So basically, I was like looking forward to going through the schematics and stuff, and about 4 or 5 people have basically done the exact thing that I did. So basically, I ended up with a bunch of Google images that I could have just searched through myself, and nobody had the actual schematics because they hadn't been made yet. So yeah. Anyway, there you go. They did have a lot of interesting ideas for different space locales. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I will be back in a few hours' time. Very definitely. I don't imagine I'm going to be doing anything else because Damon's gone to bed by now, probably. But yeah, I'm going to go eat something, check on a couple of work stuff, do some drawing, and then I'll probably be back with some art stuff. So that'll be something. It just depends on if this guy will let me show you guys what I did drawing wise. Some people don't like their stuff to be shown. But yeah, belly ribs, belly salute. And like I said, I'll see you guys in a few hours' time. But no, this was fun. Just talking about Star Trek. It's fun. By the way, FMF, I do hope that my explanation, my very, very basic explanation on how warp coils work, helped a little bit, maybe. I'm sure you can find a better explanation somewhere on the internet, but yeah. Toodles for now.